So one question when firms are designing products is whether they're trying to go for a mass market product that will appeal broadly to lots and lots and lots of people, or whether they're going to try to serve more of a niche market, right? And so they'll have a select group of consumers that have tastes that are different than most people. And so, we see mass market and niche market products within the same market. And, behavioral economics says a lot of that might have to do with how people are sort of choosing their product, right? And so mass market goods go to people who, want to have the same thing and are prone to bandwagon effects, or it might not even be so much bandwagon effects as like network effects. And then firms will have niche market products to those who have, distinctive preferences. They might want, I'm not the same as everybody else, I'm a nonconformist, or who are influenced by snob effects, right? And so if you can convince people that something is better, even if it doesn't have a higher cost, then you can increase the price and increase your profits. And we can all think about, products that fit both of those categories. So how do we model it? Well, what we want to do here is we want to think about what the demand curve looks like. And so, we'll have a mass market design will cause our demand curve to rotate from D1 to D2, right? And so if you think about it, there's a higher demand on the right side of the demand curve. So where the quantity is higher, right? Whereas the niche market will cause it to rotate from D2 to D1, where there's higher demand at these high price points, right, on the left side of the demand curve. So if we can get a model that kind of rotates our demand curve around this point X, that would be nice, and we can. And so basically what we have is P equals X plus XB minus BQ. And so this X plus XB is the new piece in our demand curve. And you can note that when P equals X, that Q equals X, right? Regardless of the value of B, because then that just the XB and the BQ just go away. So as B changes, we rotate around that point X. And so, I don't know if this is a world-stopping model, but Johnson and Myatt showed that, if it's profit maximizing for a monopolist to choose a niche product when the equilibrium price output, right? So when marginal revenue equals marginal cost is to the left of point X, and we'll choose a mass market design when the price output optimum is to the right of point X. So basically, they're saying, all right, well, if we can choose how we design this, we just set marginal revenue equal to marginal cost and see where we are relative to point X. And so, there's lots of products that we can think about this, right? The book talks about the cell phone market and the jitterbug, which is basically that cell phone for old people. People who like simple things. And that basically is a niche market. It's probably actually much cheaper to produce, but you can still charge for it for the people who want, a very simple phone. So somewhat related to this is the idea of multi-product production, right? And so here, now we're not thinking about choosing between necessarily a niche market and a mass market, but we have firms that are producing lots of different types of products in order to sort of segment the market. So as an example, they talk about Colgate and toothpaste, and Colgate has over 30 different kinds of toothpastes, right? So different flavors aimed at different population, kids, toddlers, fluoride, not fluoride, all sorts of things, right? And, that's similar to Gillette. They have lots of products, often in complementary categories, right? So they have razors, razor blades, shaving foam and gel. And so we have all these multi-product firms. And so the question is, all right, well, how do you decide whether or not you want to be producing a lot of different products, or whether you want to focus on only one or two products? And so we want to think about synergies, right? Synergies basically just mean, is there benefits to producing more than one, other than like you can think about, all right, well, if one firm produces one and another firm produces another, are they going to be even more profitable if it's one firm that produces both? And so one synergy that it can produce is just reducing the overall risk of doing business, right? So if people decide, oh, well, I don't want to buy this product anymore, but I still want to buy that product, then you will still be earning some revenue. So the example they give in the book, high quality brands might do well when everybody is employed and has lots of income, but lower quality, lower price brands might do well in recessions when people are having less money. There could also be synergies in product design. It could be easier to design products together because they share some characteristics. And we also saw that there can be some synergies in production, right? Where we talked about like beef and leather hide production. It makes more sense for a single firm to do both rather than, for two separate firms to do it. So we think about some more incentives, right? One might be just that successful companies are more likely to stick with what they know. And so a failing firm might be more likely to try different strategies, right? So this could be a Hail Mary strategy where, you're trying to hire Doug Flutie in order to have a miracle. There also might be complementary goods, right? Such as cell phones and batteries. So if you can make a longer lasting battery, your cell phone's going to be better. And there could be price spillovers, right? If you can make the battery cheaper, then it can reduce the cost of the cell phone and therefore increase the demand for the cell phone. So if we think about the automobile industry, we talked about this in class a little bit. The Ford Model T basically dominated the industry between 1908 and 1927 by getting these economies of scale, right? And getting this efficiency. So the price fell from $900 to $500, and their market share went from a little under 10% in 1908 to about half of the market in 1915. But one of the problems was that they were all the same, right? So a Model T was a Model T was a Model T, and they were all black, and they were all kind of boring. And so as income grew in the 1920s, that sort of scale efficiency became less of an issue, right? So you can think of, all right, the minimum efficient scale was such that more firms could reach it. And then GM basically said, all right, we're going to segment the market. We're not going to have one car. We're going to have lots of different kinds of cars. We're going to have Chevys and Buicks and Cadillacs, and they're going to come in different colors. And that really allowed GM to overtake Ford, or at least catch up to Ford, in a way that they couldn't in the earlier market.